There we go. Hey, good evening, my friends. How are you? I had a little problem when I went to go live here just a couple of minutes ago. And I think it's tied into the problem I had this morning in the radio studio. When I tried to go live, I usually go live to Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and Twitter, now called X. And this morning, it said I had to have a premium account to go live on Twitter, live on X, and I'm not going to pay for a premium account. I forgot about that, so I set it up tonight to do the same thing, and it just kept cycling and cycling and cycling. So I think that was the problem. Anyway, we're not live on Twitter tonight, but who's on Twitter anyway, right? Randy, good evening. How are you? Sean, fellow Angler Quest owner. Is that there's Sean. Okay. Nice to have you along with us. Craig, I was going to say, is that Sean with a Cape Buffalo? No, that's Craig Plowman with a Cape Buffalo. JT Cap, nice to have you along with us. I look forward to seeing you in West Branch in a week and a half now. Cliff, always a pleasure. Jason, nice to have you along with us. Uncle Johnny, how are you? Great to see you. Sorry we didn't get a chance to visit this afternoon, but we'll get a chance to visit here very soon. Mike, who says he's pissed about the Liberty Hunt and the Independence Hunt being does only starting next season. Dennis, good evening. How are you? And it wasn't it interesting, Mike, that we had somebody on from the Deer Management Initiative, and their suggestion to the NRC was does only for the youth hunt, but not for the vets hunt. Trolling the river tonight. The bay's pretty snotty right now. And how is the river, Bob? Has the level come down? Has it cleaned up at all? Last time I was over there, the river was basically unfishable, but so was the bay. Corey says it's official. Finished 19th for the MWT season, qualified for the championship. Nice job, Corey Phillips. Congrats. Rabbit Homesteading, how are you tonight? Larry, nice to have you along with us on this edition of Wednesday Night Live. My name is Mike Avery. Hey, Paul, another Phillips. Paul Phillips, one of the best extreme long-range shooters in the world. I see Paul signed up for our charity golf outing in West Branch Monday the 29th. So, Paul, we will see you there. Looking forward to it. You are more than welcome, Corey. Must be all that sponsorship money you got before the season, eh? Bob says, not bad. River's not bad. Pretty clear. That's good to know because Friday now I will be back out there in my skinny water. I've got trips Saturday and Sunday. But actually Friday, I'm sorry you're not going to be there, Cap. I guess, were you never planning on being there and it was just my misunderstanding? If so, I apologize. Did a brief dive into the commissioner's bios. Couldn't find any military background for any of them. Good evening, Michael. Those only, Liberty Hunt, not cool for the vets. Hello, Jim Hassel. How are things in Tennessee? I will be Friday morning. I'm taking the Angler Quest upriver to have it lifted and have the tubes power washed. This time of year, they get pretty bad. They're pretty caked up with crud and grass and all kinds of snotty looking stuff. And it really changes the performance of that boat. Not only does it take off the top end, but it feels very sluggish. And I mean, you think about it, you got a few hundred pounds of crud on your tubes, plus the resistance that it causes in the water. So whenever I get those things power washed off, it feels like a new boat, brand new boat. Greg's fishing with the grandkids. Does Paul have a partner? Yeah, I think Corey. I think they've got him. I think they've got him all set. Craig is fishing with the grandkids from Alaska. Nice. Corey, I'll tell you this: if you haven't signed up yet, you're not going to. We're full. Although If you go there right now and try to sign up, they'll ask you if you want to be put on a waiting list. We're trying to figure out a way to get more golfers in there. We are full, and any golfers who agree to be on the wait list and sign up now would likely not be eligible for the new vehicle on the hole-in-one. That's the holdup. We have to give the car dealer, Hart Buick GMC, Ross Elliott's dealership. He doesn't own it, but he works there. He's a big part of that. We have to give them a number so insurance will cover if somebody gets a hole-in-one on that particular hole and wins the vehicle. So right now we're maxed out. If we bring on any more golfers, you would likely not be eligible for the new vehicle on the hole-in-one. Skinny water on Friday, you bet, Randy. That's exactly where I'm going to start. Jim, good evening. How are you? Nice to have you along with us. Jeff, how are you? Paul? Oh, okay. Yeah, I knew all along I wasn't going to be able to make it. I'll be able to at the club this week. Okay, yeah, I will be out there as well, Cap. And thank you, by the way, for your generous sponsorship. I guess I was thinking you were going to be there. But I'll see you this weekend. I'll be out there Saturday and Sunday. I've got trips Saturday and Sunday. Yeah, it's nice. I mean, I think we've got 108 golfers in there right now. 72 is a full field. It's 4 on every holes of 18 holes. So we're going to be doubling up on some holes, but we got room for more if we can work it out with the insurance company and the hole-in-one contest. Ed Bolanowski, how are you this evening? Dave got his new Rapid River knife today to add to the collection. Well, here's my newest Rapid River knife. Uncle Johnny picked it up while he was up north. I think this is my favorite. This is Woolly Mammoth Tusk right here. I like it better than my original one. Go to rapidriverknifeworks.us, use the promo code Avery10, save 10%, or go into the store there on US 2, just east of Rapid River. Corey was a shoo-in for the hole-in-one. I bet you were, Corey. Hello, Michelle. How are you this evening? Michelle is Craig's better half in every way. Mark, good evening. Jerry, good evening. Andrew Weiss right here, ladies and gentlemen. This is Andy Weiss from Truck Trolley. Andy is on the radio show this week talking about this Michigan-based family-owned company. I have posted some video of Truck Trolley. I have talked about it online here, and we're going to talk about it on the radio show this week. Also, Andy Weiss, being the stand-up guy that he is donating a truck trolley to the charity golf outing that we can auction off or raffle off and raise more money for MUCC's youth camp. So we're going to have the truck trolley there. We're going to have a Primal Outdoors Harvester blind to give away. We've got a Rapid River knife to give away. We've got a custom-made rod by Brent Schinkel to give away. We got some cool stuff. So, Andy, I appreciate that so very much. And folks can listen to you, Andy, in the first hour of the show, the last segment this weekend, the website, trucktrolley.com. We just went to Costco, Andy. My wife Denise and I just went to Costco before I came downstairs here to go online. And we put the truck trolley to use, believe me. Jim says, hot here in Tennessee, ready to come back up north. Good evening, Mike. How are you? Hey, James. Rabbit homesteading. That's too bad if you didn't sign up yet, but also great to hear it fills up. Lots of people. Yeah, I'm feeling very blessed at this point and very fortunate and very thankful because you never know with a first year event how it's going to turn out. Now, we haven't had the event yet, so I still don't know how it's going to turn out, but I can tell you this, that it looks like it's going to be a good quality, solid, well-run event. The only unknown factor, as in everything we do as hunters and anglers, is the weather. We get a big storm that day, we'll deal with it. Nothing we can do about it. Good evening, John. How are things at Jay's Sporting Goods? Tommy, nice to have you along with us. How's the fam? Kevin, got into it today with those people. When is the DNR going to start giving out tickets to people that feed feral cats? Interesting question, Kevin. Feral cats, wild cats, are proven to be very, very effective predators on small game, in particular upland birds, when they're young. Pheasants, turkeys, grouse, woodcock, probably geese. I hope they get all the geese. Speaking of NRC, good to hear, Tommy. One of the main topics of discussion, and this will actually lead me into the radio show rundown. Let me give you the radio show rundown, then I'm going to follow up on it, all right? Coming up on this week's Outdoor Magazine radio show, my first guest this week is Justin Tomei of MUCC. Justin is basically their legislative liaison. He's like a lobbyist. He's believe me, this guy is plugged into Lansing. Dustin and I have quite a conversation about the NRC, the Natural Resources Commission, and their meeting last Thursday and what they decided for changes for deer hunting for the fall. I will leave it at that and come back and talk more in a few minutes. Then Andy Weiss, who is on here with us tonight of Truck Trolley, trucktrolley.com. You got to check these things out. They're so cool. Second hour is Larry Jennings of Jonah Jigs out of Traverse City. He talks about jigging for king salmon. I know you can troll for kings, but he jigs for them, not just in the river or the drowned river mouths, but out in the big lake too. Then Aline Kemi from the DNR on their Nature Awaits program. It's a program designed to get fourth graders out to our state parks. Listen, I'm all in favor of anything to get kids in the outdoors. This week's Ask Avery segment features Mr. Angler Quest, Brad Dupuis. I'll come back to that in a minute. Mr. Angler Quest, Brad Dupuis. And in our third hour, we're starting to get ready for the fall bow hunting season with Dave Thomas of Bow Hunter Planet. By the way, and I have no affiliation with Bear Archery, though I do have a lot of respect, even though they're not here in Michigan anymore. Dave Thomas of Bow Hunter Planet is working a deal with Bear Archery. If you go to the website beararchery.com, that's beararchery.com, make an online order and use the promo code BHP2024, that's BHP2024, you can save 20% on your order. So if you're going to get a bow that was $500, you get $100 off. How good is that? Good evening, Jeff. George says their coyotes are keeping the feral cat population down in Metro Detroit. Larry at Rabbit Homesteading says he and his neighbors are dealing with feral cats. And when you say you're dealing with feral cats, Larry, what do you mean by dealing with feral cats? Craig Plowman, Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation. My overpriced Yeti. I would have never bought one for myself because they're too expensive. They're ridiculous. But when my buddy Craig Plowman gives me one, I'm more than happy to use it. Dealing with feral cats. Do I even want to know what that means? Probably not. Okay, let's talk more in depth about a couple of things here. In particular, the opening topic of this week's radio show and a topic of discussion here in Michigan for the last week or so. 3S on the cat, shoot, shovel, shut up. Why even shovel? Why even shovel? Listen, I'm not proposing that you go out and shoot cats because it's illegal to shoot cats. Just like it's illegal to shoot a dog that's running deer. I'm not proposing that because it's illegal. Let me give you a little background here for those who don't know. The NRC, the Natural Resources Commission, is kind of the overseeing body of hunting and fishing regulations here in Michigan. The DNR, of course, the Department of Natural Resources, is the department that comes up with a suggestion that oversees things. They have all the biologists, yada, yada. There's a third group involved in this particular discussion called DMI, Deer Management Initiative. The NRC said they wanted input from hunters and constituents, interested parties, whatever, across the state. So they formed this Deer Management Initiative and asked the DMI groups, a UP group and a Lower Peninsula group, to come up with suggestions on how to change and how to improve deer hunting in Michigan. The DMI, both groups worked very hard. And when you talk to them, they'll tell you they had a lot of angst. They worked very hard. Some disagreements, but they came to agreement. And they submitted their suggestions, their plan, their proposal, whatever, to the DNR and the NRC. last Thursday, the NRC voted on those proposals of everything that was proposed and all of the things that could be done to change deer hunting in Michigan. Uh, a couple of major things. Number one, starting in 2025, the youth hunt will be does only, which honestly I support. And then the vets hunt will be does only, which that one I don't know. They've also, in the lower peninsula, drastically reduced restrictions on firearm hunting. So, in effect, you've got a rifle season from November 15th through the second week of January. And this is being done because they want more deer killed. So the hunting regulations have been eased in the lower peninsula to try to get hunters to take more deer, in particular does, antlerless. And in the upper peninsula, where the deer herd's in trouble, they have tightened it up a little bit. There was nothing done about baiting. The lower peninsula group had recommended that baiting be reinstituted in counties without disease. I thought that was a great idea. There was nothing on baiting. There was nothing on antler point restrictions. And when you talk to the people in the DMI groups, they feel like maybe the NRC was just giving them lip service and really didn't want to hear what they had to say, which of course was a concern with a lot of people going in. So I talked to Justin about that. And then I asked Justin, I said, Justin, I tell you what, I said, I'm pretty disgusted with our Natural Resources Commission. When you take a look at some of their decisions lately, in particular, their decision last spring to close year-round coyote hunting in Michigan because they thought it presented a bad perception to some groups, some non-hunters, which really yanked my crank. And then now with this basically ignoring the deer management initiatives, it's proven to me that that group, which is appointed by the governor, 7 people appointed by the governor, the same governor who shut our state down during COVID, just keep that in mind. I said, Justin, I don't see a need for him anymore. Do we still need an NRC? He said, I understand your concerns because I share some of those same concerns. But he said, unequivocally, we need the Natural Resources Commission in Michigan. He said, what are the options, Mike? Number one, you could get rid of the NRC and you could let the state legislature make all those decisions. You don't want to do that. You don't want politicians running our fish and game laws because they'll change every time there's an election. Number two, you could leave it up for a ballot of the people of Michigan. Nope, we don't want that either. That's how we lost the dove hunt. And number three, you could give it to the DNR, which I thought, well, that's probably the best idea. Give it to the DNR because they're the ones who have the experts and have done the research. And he said, I don't have any concern about the current leadership in the DNR. He said, but what if, since the DNR director is appointed by the governor, what if we get a new governor who is anti-hunting and they appoint a DNR director who is anti-hunting, which is not inconceivable in today's world? Then you would have the DNR in charge of all these things and being run by an anti-hunter, or at least a non-hunter. Okay, Justin, I get it. Anyway, that is the first two. That's the second and third segment of the open hour. And then, as I say, Andy Weiss joins us from Truck Trolley as well. Let me check up on some comments here. Gene checking in. How are you, Gene? Gene is the guy who built the helm on the Angler Quest I'm running right now and who also swapped out my tubes. Thank you, Gene. Joe Bean's with us tonight. Joe, how is the landscaping business? I bet all that rain has got you busy as can be. Tim Binns, I just finished the most amazing piece of lemon dill Lake Michigan salmon given to us by the couple that hunts our property. Nice. Tim says nothing like fresh salmon. Good evening, Mike. How are you? Nice to have you along with us. Mike, you're joining us in West Branch the 29th, aren't you? Tim says this isn't popular, but I support no bucks before the rut. Austin, good evening, Mike. Shooting at bow tonight. Excellent. Josh, they care more about the non-hunters and antis than they do us hunters. Good evening, Eric. How are you? Tim, but the same thing can happen with the NRC anti-hunters. Absolutely. Johnny Bowler, the Bear Whisperer. How are you, Johnny? No, Ed, I have not. Yes, I have. In the past, I've had NRC members. I've had NRC members on. Yeah, I have. I'll be honest with you, Ed. If an NRC member walked up to me and shook my hand and said, "Hey, I'm so and so, so and so. I'm a natural resources commissioner," I wouldn't even know him. And it's not that I have a problem with the individuals on the commission. I have a problem with the actions that those individuals have been taking. Why are you sorry, Johnny Bowler? And by the way, Johnny, remember I told you this morning a change in plans. I was going to hunt with you this fall and use my Brenton 350 Legend with a suppressor. I'm actually going to hunt with a crossbow. So 35 yards, 15 yards, whatever you got there, I'll be ready. Lawns are growing like it's spring again. Very busy. I'm mowing my lawn 3 times a week, Joe. Hunter Joe, the issue is we currently have people on the NRC who are not deer hunters and they have no clue what current regulations even are. Can't disagree with that. Johnny Bowler, busier than a cat covering crap. Well, there's a visual for you. Why the change to the crossbow? Don't want to get into it publicly, Tim. It's a business related decision. That's all. It's just the way it is. And I'm primarily a bow hunter anyway. I like bow hunting. Another Tim, cooking up some venison sloppy joes and it smells wonderful. I bet it does. Boy, we've got some interesting colloquialisms tonight, don't we? Colloquialism, I think that's the word. From Hunter Joe. Ed, are you busier than a feral cat covering poop? Johnny just pulled up to Andy's. What is Andy's, by the way, Johnny? I've never been in there. I hear Andy's is a mystical place in the middle of the UP in the town of Seney, near Seney National Wildlife Refuge. I hear the food is excellent. I hear the atmosphere is outstanding. I hear the beer is cold. And I'm just afraid that if I walk in there, I'm not coming out upright. Because I just know I'm going to love it. I would just love it. Brush hog every 10 days. There's deer in the backyard eating clover right now. Scott Hand, what about Mr. AQ? Were you going to talk about him? I am. I'll talk about him right now. Let me find the question. Justin, how are you? Good evening, buddy. Oh, I know I will, Johnny. Let me bring up the question that was asked me today. And this was sent in by John Graves, not John Craves, Uncle Johnny, my brother-in-law, but John Graves. This week's Ask Avery question was sent by John Graves, and he sent me an email to Mike at MikeAveryOutdoors.com. He says, "Hey, Mike, I know you run an Angler Quest and have said good things about that boat. I am considering one, but I understand things are changing there. You had Brad Dupuis on earlier in the summer, and he talked about a prototype boat he was working on. I can't find anything about the status of that. Can you help me out? I know you are friends with Brad." Yes, I am friends with Brad. So I reached out to Brad and said, "You want to join me for this week's Ask Avery segment and answer that question?" And he did. He said, "Yes, indeed. Things are moving along nicely. They're moving along slower than what he had hoped, but they are moving along better than what he had hoped." By that, he means the prototype of the new Angler Quest is coming together better than he had dreamed. But he's a couple of weeks behind on that prototype. He had hoped to have a prototype on the water of Saginaw Bay by now. It's been slowed down a little bit. So we don't have it yet. But things are still in the works. He is going through with this, coming out with his own version of Angler Quest. Mr. Angler Quest is making his own version of Angler Quest. It's just taken a little time, as you can imagine, because you've got the logistics of transferring ownership from Apex Marine to Brad Dupuis. And then you've got the logistics of working with new people to build a boat, and how are you going to build it and what's it going to look like? So there's a lot of moving parts. Brad says it's taking a little longer than he would have helped or hoped. But Scott says AQ tourney in 2 weeks. Actually, a week and a half. 27th. Johnny says you can come in and eat. I won't force you to drink until after you take your beer. Beer. Yes. So this weekend, the 20th and 21st, I have two charity charters, Saturday and Sunday. Next Saturday is the Angler Quest Owners Tournament out of Linwood Beach Marina. And then the following Monday, July 29th, is the charity, Mike Avery Outdoors charity golf outing to benefit MUCC's youth camp. I don't know if we can fit any more golfers in. You can try to get on a wait list. Go to mucc.org/golf. We still are taking sponsorships and product to raffle off. Like I told you, I got a Primal Outdoors Harvester blind, basically a prototype. They're not even being distributed yet. I have one. I'm bringing mine up. It's only been used for photos and video. I'm going to give it away. We got a truck trolley, that removable slide out bed liner that is so slick, made here in Michigan. Chris Durson of Rapid River is sending down a knife. Brent Schinkel made a custom-made spinning rod for us. What else? All kinds of things. Brian says he's looking forward to seeing Brad's new boat, as am I. Tim says it's going to be an amazing boat with no one above him to try to make him happy. Exactly. Jay, good evening. How are you? Tim, nice to have you along with us. Appreciate you joining me on this edition. Joining us. Yes, Ed Polarcraft is gone. Well, they aren't making any more Polarcrafts. That happened several months ago. Last I heard, I think they were honoring warranty work and such. Don't quote me on that. But yeah, Polarcraft is bye-bye. Brent, good evening, sir. Our Southwest Little League 11U team just won districts on the state. Excellent, Brent. Congrats, coach. Nice job. Is that, Brent, are the two the two boys that I know that are involved with Aaron and Nikki's family, the hockey players, are they on, you know who I'm talking about, Brent? Are they on that team? Jay says Brent Schinkel is an awesome friend. Brent's an awesome guy. Tim's got to go move the cows over to new grass. Have a great evening. You as well, Tim. Actually, that sounds like a wonderful thing to do tonight. Justin, by the way, is an audiologist. I think that would be the correct term, Justin. Justin is the guy who reached out to me when I said I was having hearing problems. And he really kind of got the ball rolling for me to get hearing aids. You can see part of one right there. I've got earbuds in on top of them. So if you're having problems with hearing, Miracle Ear in Midland would be a good place to go. Anyway, Justin says he's holding off on a new boat until the AQ release. Probably a good idea. Billy, good evening. Brent, gotcha. Understand. Thank you. Lori, thanks for joining us. Uncle Johnny says they play for Great Lakes Bay Little League. Thank you. Brent and Uncle Johnny have both answered my question. Well, thank you, Jay. Appreciate that very much. But Brent, you know who I'm talking about, don't you? Because you told me, you said those kids are good ball players. This is just Crystal Light, and it's tasting really good tonight. Brian's just tuning in. How are you? Johnny says, well, you all have a great night as well. I'm going to go enjoy a tall boy iced twisted tea. Johnny, have a good night, buddy. I'll talk to you soon. Brent says, I do, and they are. Oh, what else? Let me check my list here. I've always got a list of things to. I think I may have thrown away the wrong. Stick with me here. I may have thrown away the wrong paper. Oh, I did in the studio. I had a list of topics. That's okay. We're doing all right. I remember that my list of topics included much of what we're already talking about so far. Good evening, Paul. How are you? Mad Jack, not a problem. Just glad to have you along with us. Thank you very, very much. What was on that list? Don't forget to apply for your your fall turkey tags You have the month of July to do that, and July is rapidly slipping away, my friends. Tim says, any tips for the bay this weekend? This will be your first trip on the bay. Tim, for a guy with his first trip on the bay, I can give you a little bit of advice, but it's free, so take it for what you paid for it. I would either put in at the mouth of the Saginaw River, or I would go over to the west side of the bay and put in at Linwood Beach Marina. If you go out of Linwood, just go straight east. You'll be into fish. Talk to the people at the marina. They're very, very good about sharing information. For a newcomer to the bay, I would recommend maybe number 7 flicker minnows. Run them about 2.5, 2.5. I actually spoke to a Lutherans men's group in Richville Tuesday night. Wonderful group. And one of the guys I was talking with and says, you run flickers at 2.5? He said, I run them at 1.2. Honestly, I've never thought of running them that slow in the summertime. I mean, the surface temp is 80 degrees. In fact, I'll run them 2.2 to 2.7. Usually concentrate around 2.5. Probably a good place to start would be out in the sailboat buoys. Can't go wrong in the sailboat buoys or the dumping grounds. That would be my advice and my suggestion, my advice, Tim. Look for early in the morning, look for a pack of boats because they're probably there for a reason, but don't fish in the pack, fish the edges. If you see a pack of boats midday, maybe they're still on fish. Maybe they're just fishing there because that's where they were fishing. I'd say number 7 flicker minnows, look for a perch pattern or a purple pattern or a chrome, depending on the day. That is my basic advice. But overall, just go out there and have some fun. Lori says it was beautiful on the bay last night. This is so true, Eric. Eric says he saw a meme a couple of days ago saying we went from July 4th to July 14th in 2 minutes. It feels like we did. Good point, Cap. Cap likes the PWC lights, the precise walleye cranks. Those are the ones that the Romanex came up with in cooperation with, and I can never remember if it's Bill Norman or Bill Lewis. I have run those and caught fish on them too. You know what I really like about those, Cap? The hooks. They are good, solid, heavy-duty hooks, not like those little crappy ones on the flicker minnows and the flicker shads. Craig, are your videos from the outdoor show ever going to be aired again? You know, Craig, this is something I've toyed with a lot. All right, Bill Lewis. It's Bill Lewis, not Bill Norman. Thank you, Cap. Thank you, Eric. Because I have a bunch of them. And I think when the fishing season gets over, I think, and I got to have cataract surgery here coming up in a few weeks. I think when it all starts to slow down, Craig, that's one thing that I really want to do. I want to take some of those old videos and post them out there on YouTube and Facebook and wherever else. So yeah, I think I'm going to do it because some of them, well, you've seen some of them. You've seen like the Fred Bear stuff and the Ted Nugent stuff. That stuff's out there. But I have a whole bunch more stuff, and I might as well put it out there, right? Good evening, Randy. How are you? Bill Lewis. Thank you. You know that if it's a product that the Romanex, Mark and Jake Romanek, endorse and prototyped and designed, you know it's going to be good. Dave, good evening. How are you? Haven't seen you since Wednesday Night Live at the West Branch, at the Lumberjack in West Branch. We will do another Wednesday Night Live at the Lumberjack in September. Let me just take a look at the calendar real quick and see if I can tell you a tentative date. Probably 11-ish, 11 or 18, right in there, mid-September-ish. We will probably do our next Wednesday Night Live at the Lumberjack. Am I going to be at Jay's this Saturday? No. What's going on at Jay's this Saturday? And I have a charter this Saturday, so that I'm not. What's going on there? Is it the Western Hunt Days? No. Spencer Fitzgerald's put out their old bow hunting videos these days. He absolutely loves it. Classics. And I get that. I get that, Spencer. And to me, it's interesting to look at it because number one, the video quality of the old stuff is so different. It's not as good as the stuff I'm streaming right now. The aspect ratio is different. You're looking at me in 16:9. The old video aspect ratio was 4:3. And just the way we did stories was so much different. It was so basic and so elementary, and there was no drone stuff, and there was no POV cameras, point of view cameras. And but yeah, I need to do that. Greg says, gives us something to watch on a cold winter night while dreaming of walleye fishing. True. All right, Dave. Lori, interesting point. The 18th is the middle of the red oak bear hunt. I want to avoid all bear seasons, so we're going to have to move it up then. Maybe the 11th. The 4th would be right after Labor Day, so I don't want to do that. Maybe the 11th is a good, because I don't want to go to the 25th because then I'm going to be bear hunting. So it looks to me like the 11th. 11 seems like a good, 9/11. Oof. A Wednesday night live on 9/11. Let me make myself, Emil, are you on here tonight? Emil Rousseau of the Lumberjack. I talked to him earlier in the day. Well, Zach, it's nice of you to say that. I don't feel like I do much of anything that everybody else doesn't do, but it's nice of you to say. I appreciate it. I haven't had a chance to tell you, Mike, but both drew bear tags in Barriga. Can't wait. What season, Spence? When does that start? Now, for those of you who don't know, Spence, I think you go by Spence, don't you? Spencer was on the radio show a couple of years ago. He he went bear hunting in the UP, self-guided. And I got to remember, honest, Spence, I don't remember all the details, just that it was a very hardcore hunt and you finally were rewarded on the last day of your season. So, and it was a very good, very compelling story. So I wish you and your dad both luck this year. Roy, how are you? Appreciate you joining me on this edition of Wednesday Night Live. I am not going to Ontario. I told Ron St. Louis this the other day. I'm not going to Ontario on a bear hunt this year. I'm going next year. Nothing can stop me from going. Well, I don't think anything can stop me from going next year. I'm not going this year, in part because, well, you want to know the real reasons? That's the same weekends as my daughter's baby shower. And even though I'm not going to be at the baby shower, I'm going to be in the background helping. I have to have that cataract surgery the next day. So I don't want to do anything to screw that up. And I also have a Michigan bear tag. So those are the reasons. So I'm not going up there this year, but I am going on my UP bear hunt, which starts with Johnny Bowler in Newberry, which starts September 23rd, maybe 9/23. So that September 11th date is looking better and better. Barriga has 3 seasons. I thought so, just like Newberry, right? Just like Newberry. Tag next year. I tell you, Larry, if you apply for the 3rd season, you can get a tag just about every other year. Took me a while to figure that out, though. I wish I had my other sheet here. The Rapid River Knife Works new website is up and running. Go to rapidriverknifeworks.us. Let me go right there now. Let me see. Let me just verify that before I start saying it's up and running and you go there. Come on, Google. Have you noticed anything with Google wanting to give you AI findings and screwing the real findings up? I don't like it at all. Yeah, it's running very, very slow. Ever since they started suggesting that AI junk. Anyway, All right. Randy, not sure if you saw my question. Randy, I did not. So thank you for reposting. Do you pay tax on bait, and do the sellers claim it on their taxes? Randy, I don't know the answer to that. I certainly don't know if the sellers claim that income. And I guess I'm thinking, why wouldn't you pay tax? Are you talking bear bait and deer bait? Why wouldn't you pay tax on it? Jeff says, Emil says, pick the date and he'll make it happen. Well, where the heck is Emil? Evening, Bruce. How are you? I'm thinking 9/11. Tentatively, let's shoot for 9/11. Even today, this many years later, it seems weird to plan an event that would be a happy celebration of sorts on 9/11. Huh. All right, my friends, I think that's about all I have tonight. Emil is watching. How do you know that, Lori? Again, speaking of Emil Rousseau, on the golf outing, if you need a room, either the night before or the night after, the night of, if you need a room the night before, which is Sunday night, the 28th, or the night of Monday, the 29th, because maybe you may have had too many cigars and maybe too many beers, and you don't want to drive home. Jeff got a hold of me. Ross Ellis supporting his bike night. Confirmed September 11th. Okay, thank you, Emil. September 11th sounds pretty good, friends. Thank you, Ross, and or thank you, Emil. Say hi to Ross for me. Here's Brent right here. Brent is the guy who made that custom-made spinning rod for us. Brent, appreciate that so very much. Okay, so Larry, you were able to get on the website. You say it looks way better. I haven't been able to get into it yet, but I will check it out. RapidRiverKnifeWorks.us. Use the promo code Avery10, save 10%. If you need a room at the hotel there next to the Lumberjack, the Forward Corporation Hotel, Emil Rousseau and Gigi, his right-hand person there, I've put together a discount, and all you have to do is ask for it. So if you call there and say, I need a room for the Avery golf outing, they have special rates. And that's right there in town. It'd make it so very convenient, and you can save a few bucks. Emil says, call the hotel and say the Avery Group block. There you go, the Avery Group block. If I lived about 15 minutes farther away, I'd probably be getting a hotel room. Let's think about wrapping this thing up. But before we do that, we got to do this, right? Because we didn't get to hear all the music beforehand because it was so late in starting because of the whole thing with Twitter. Thank you, Craig. Yeah, good luck to you fishing as well. Have fun with the grandkids. I know you will. I will be out there Friday morning, just checking to see if I can find some fish in shallow, in skinny. And then I've got charity charters on Saturday and Sunday. So I'll be out there. You as well, Larry, JT, Lori, Craig, Justin. I think it might be time to add a little something else to this jug. All right, my friends, my name is Mike Avery. This is Wednesday Night Live. My website is MikeAveryOutdoors.com, MikeAveryOutdoors.com. My email address is Mike@MikeAveryOutdoors.com. I would love to hear from you. If you have a question for the Ask Avery segment, if you want to comment on something I said, if you agree with me, disagree with me, let me hear from you. Mike@MikeAveryOutdoors.com. All right, my friends. Appreciate you. Have a good night.